Sometimes, it's not about how much time you spend with someone, but about the moments that change everything. There are people we meet, even if just for one day, who stay with us forever. This is the story of how one ordinary day shaped the way I understand love, loss, and life itself. I was 22, fresh out of college, living in a small town in Pennsylvania. You know that time in life when you're just figuring things out, your career, your friendships, who you want to be. Life feels messy, unpredictable, and honestly, kind of lonely. It was the summer after graduation. Everyone was going their separate ways, some chasing careers in big cities, some staying behind, some already planning weddings. And me? I was stuck in between. I had dreams of writing, but no real direction. That's when I met her. It wasn't planned. It wasn't supposed to be a love story. But isn't that how the best stories start? It was at a friend's 4th of July barbecue. The kind of backyard party with cheap beer, country music, kids running around with sparklers. I was sitting on a folding chair, scrolling through my phone, pretending not to feel completely out of place. And then, she sat down next to me. Her name was Emily. She had this wild brown hair, like it never listened to a comb, and a laugh that made people turn their heads. She was the kind of girl who didn't need attention, but somehow got it anyway. "Are you always this awkward at parties?" she asked, smirking. I laughed nervously. "Only when I don't know anyone." "Well, now you know me," she said, holding out her hand. That's how it began. A single conversation over paper plates of grilled burgers. We ended up spending the whole day together. Talking, walking, watching fireworks explode above us. She told me she was moving to California in a week to start grad school. She had plans, ambitions, a whole roadmap for her future. And me? I admitted I had no clue where my life was heading. Instead of making me feel small, she made me feel seen. She said, "Sometimes not knowing is the most exciting part. It means anything can happen." We laughed. We shared stories. She told me about her first heartbreak. I told her about my fear of failing as a writer. Somewhere between her teasing me for being too serious and me calling her a dreamer, something clicked. It wasn't love at first sight. It was something deeper, like finding someone who spoke a language you didn't know you were fluent in. By the time the night ended, I didn't want it to be over. But I knew she was leaving. And so did she. The next morning, I walked her to her car. The sun was rising, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. She turned to me and said, "You know, most people spend their whole lives searching for someone they can really talk to. Maybe we got lucky, even if it's just for one day." I wanted to ask her to stay, to fight for more. But I didn't. Something inside me knew. It wasn't our time. So, I just nodded, smiled, and watched her drive away. Life moved on. I got a job in a city, wrote for small magazines, dated people, went through heartbreak. But every now and then, I'd think about her, about that day, about how it felt to be fully alive with someone who understood me without trying. Years later, out of nowhere, I got a message on Facebook. It was her. She wrote, "Hey stranger, I'm back in town for a bit. Want to catch up?" My heart stopped. We met at a small cafe. The moment I saw her, it was like no time had passed. Same wild hair. Same laughter. But also, something different. She carried herself with more confidence, more certainty. We talked for hours. About the people we'd loved and lost. About careers and disappointments. About how fast time moves. And then, out of nowhere, she looked at me and said, "You know, I've thought about that night more times than I can count." So had I. But hearing her say it, it felt like my chest cracked open. We spent the next few weeks together. Dinners, late-night walks, long drives with the windows down. It was like living inside a dream I never thought I'd get back. But dreams don't last forever. One night, as we sat in her car outside my apartment, she told me she got a job offer in New York. A big opportunity. Something she'd worked her whole life for. And in that moment, I had a choice. Ask her to stay, or let her go again. I remembered what she said years ago, sometimes not knowing is the most exciting part. So instead of holding her back, I said, "Go. You were always meant for something bigger. And maybe we'll find each other again." She cried, hugged me, and then she was gone. It's been years since then. I don't know where she is now. Maybe married. Maybe chasing dreams in some big city. Maybe still laughing that same laugh that turned heads at a barbecue long ago. Do I regret not asking her to stay? Sometimes. But here's the truth. Some people aren't meant to be yours forever. They're meant to teach you what love feels like, to remind you that connection is real, even if it doesn't last. Emily was my one day. And that was enough. So if you've ever met someone who changed you, even for just a day, don't be sad that it didn't last forever. Be grateful. Because love isn't always about years or decades. Sometimes, it's about a single unforgettable day that stays with you for the rest of your life.